Welcome to Pop Culture Retro, which was recently voted the 15th best podcast by the residents of Golden Years Retirement Community in Boca Raton, Florida. Each show will revisit some of your favorite pop culture memories with insider and outsider perspectives. Now, please help me welcome your hosts, Moosie Drier and Jonathan Rosen.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen, along with Moosie Drier, and today we are thrilled to welcome someone who has been acting for parts of 6 decades. He starred in one of the most beloved sitcoms of all time, Diff'rent Strokes. He's the co-author of the memoir Killing Willis, From Diff'rent Strokes to the Mean Streets to the Life of I Always Wanted. And he co-hosts the new podcast, Dang. Please help us welcome Todd Bridges. Todd, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. No,
hey, Todd. That's funny. We were talking, just for our audience, we were just having a conversation and we realized, oh, shoot, this would be good for the podcast. Todd's all cool. He's all cool in his Todd Bridges. And then we get on. He's like, thanks for having me. Anyway, good to have.
Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We have a lot to cover, but let's start by going back. And this is what we were kind of talking about before. So you grew up in a family involved in show business. So what is it that your parents did?
My mom was an actress herself in the beginning, very big actress. And she was on like Good Times and Heat and Night, all those shows she was on. And then she got a management company and started teaching. She taught me, my brother, and my sister. My dad was a longshoreman. And then he became an agent. So back in the early 70s, the real only way you can get into the business is by knowing someone Black already in the business. It was very difficult just to get in. It really was. And, you had certain people in certain situations. Also, back in the day, you couldn't cross over. If you did TV, you were stuck to TV. Yeah. If you did plays, you were stuck to plays. If you did movies, you were stuck in the movie business. So everyone kind of shunned that certain, like, hey, you're just a TV actor. I'm a movie actor. You know what I mean? It's kind of how it was for a long time. But my mom trained for the likes of like Neil Long, Regina King, Lamont Bentley, Shania Lathan. My mom trained a lot of Tony O'Dell. My mom trained a lot of people. She's a really good acting teacher. They would call my mom for kid. If they needed a good, strong kid actor, they would always call my mom.
Well, so what are your earliest memories of wanting to do this? I mean, or did you? Was it just something that you were
pushed into? No, from the very beginning when I used to watch, I remember being in San Francisco, California. I used to be watching Sanford and Son.
Oh yeah.
And I always said I want to be like Red Fox, be on TV and make people laugh. One of the first shows I got, the first series regular, the first guest appearance I did was on Barney Miller.
Yeah.
That was the first guest appearance. And then I got Danny Arnold told me he wants to write a show for me and Abe Vigoda. So they wrote Fish. And that was for basically me and Abe Vigoda, put everyone else around us. And then it's interesting, Fish got canceled right at the right time. It wasn't canceled because Abe Vigoda at the time wanted more money. And back then, the studios and the producers, they weren't going to give you that. So they canceled the show. And then I had a choice. The interesting part is I had a choice between Diff'rent Strokes, Mork and Mindy, but it was called Mork from Ork. It wasn't called Mork and Mindy. It was called Mork from Ork. Or what was the Musketeers? What was that one called?
The new Mickey Mouse one?
Yeah, Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah.
So I had a choice between all three of those. And because I was a younger brother, I wanted to be an older brother. And I go, I'd like to do Diff'rent Strokes. So I become an older brother. But what's so funny is lucky I chose that because that lasted longer than the Mickey Mouse Club. And then they changed Mork from Ork and made it to Mork and Mindy. So thank goodness I made the right choice. And the kid who took over my character was Jeffrey Jaco. If you remember, Jeffrey Jacquet. He ended up doing Mork and Mindy. But it changed.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't on there long,
Yeah.
So I definitely made the right choice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I may have killed it. I only did one episode, but I think it was the very last episode.
It could have been. I wasn't in that one.
Oh, then it was close to the last because I remember the vibe. I remember. So there was remember Cynthia Stevenson went on to be in The Player. And
do you know why we got canceled though? It wasn't because the show was top 10. We were better than most shows. The reason why we got canceled was because Gary Coleman's people wanted so much money and kept driving the studio nuts that we got canceled off NBC. We got canceled because Brandon Toddercroft had enough. They didn't want to deal with the Colemans anymore. And then we got picked up by ABC, and they went through the same thing. And they were like, "We're done," And that's what got your show canceled. The show. I talked to Brandon Toddercroft about 3 years ago, and he told me they would have gave us at least a grace period of 13 to 14 years because we saved NBC.
Wow.
But it was because of that why we got canceled.
Man, oh man.
I know, we were pissed because that's a lot of money we could have made.
Heck yeah. You were on I think on Sunset Gower, I think is where.
Yeah, we were there. We were at Sunset and Gower. Metro Media used to be called Metro Media. Then we moved to Universal. We had Universal for a long time.
Yeah. Cool, man. And man, there's so much to talk about with Diff'rent Strokes. I know you get asked a lot.
I can tell you a funny story though. Okay. Dana Plato one time decided to go driving and exploring. And she drove, she's the one who plays Kimberly on Diff'rent Strokes. I'm sure most of your audience may not know that. She drove, remember the spinning tunnel at Universal? You know the spinning tunnel?
Yeah.
She drove through that in her car and broke the tunnel. She cost the network Diff'rent Strokes about $100,000. They had to fix the ride.
Wow.
I hated to say that she ended up getting fired a couple of months later. She was cost them a lot of money to fix that ride.
I mean, but apart from her struggles with whatever, she was also kind of a wild girl too. I knew Dana. She was dating a friend of mine, another actor, Chris Peterson.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, you remember Chris?
Yep. He was better for her than Lanny was. Lanny was terrible for her.
Yeah.
Chris would have been better for her than Lanny.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, Dana, I mean, it's crazy because she left us a long time ago, right?
Yeah, she left us like in 98, I think it was.
I mean, you and I are around the same age. If I left today, I'd think, oh man, this is too early, right? I just feel like that's just.
Can you imagine? Anyway. She left at 34. I think it was 34. She passed away.
Yeah. We did a Western together before she was on Diff'rent Strokes. I've known Dana a long time. Yeah. Anyway,
Dana was a good person though. She just couldn't. She's gone through so much. I think that when she was younger, so. It's pretty rough on her.
Yeah, her mom was.
Well, her mom was only her adopted mom.
Yeah, but
when she met her real mom, she didn't want anything to do with her. Basically,
I remember I think her mom was kind of a hippie. Is that right or no?
Maybe her real mom. I don't think Kay was, but maybe her real mom.
Yeah, I might be confusing people.
No, Kay had that disease. Remember that disease that made her pass away early?
Oh man, yes.
Yeah.
Oh man. So hey. Yep. Another thing that is impressive, and I have to admit, like I forgot, or I don't know, we didn't have VCRs back then. We had maybe VCRs. Yeah. We didn't have things to record. You were on Roots. You did Roots.
Yeah, I was in Roots, and I was the only kid with a lot of dialogue in Roots.
Wow.
I can tell you the funniest story about Roots.
Okay, let's hear it.
They ran out of basically every black person in Hollywood was in Roots. You know what I mean? Like every black person in Hollywood.
Tambourine.
Everybody, yeah. So they ran out of people. So they were like, oh my gosh, we need a kid extra. They go, hey, Todd, we'll give you, they told my mom, we'll give him extra money. Just put him on a hat, put him way out in the field like he's just a kid working in the field. But that's what they sent me way out there. Then they gave me like an extra $1,000 to go out there.
You played somebody else from a distance?
I played some strange kid out there, working in the field.
That's awesome.
But that was back when you can use the N-word on TV.
That was crazy.
Yeah, you remember that? They used the N-word a lot on TV back then.
Not just that, but there was also a lot of like things like violence and stuff that you could do then.
Yeah, man. But you use the N-word now, your show getting canceled.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Getting rolled up, homie. You're getting rolled up.
So, you mentioned some of them already. You had Ben Vereen, George Stanford Brown, Lloyd Bridges. So what are some of your memories of working with these people?
Oh my gosh. Lloyd, I don't remember another thing with Lloyd Bridges treated me like I was his grandson. Let me tell you what happened. So
that's sweet.
After Roots, I always had to go and tell people, no, he's not my grandfather. Okay, when I was on Roots, I was selling candy for one of the school I was going to, right? So I went up and asked Lloyd, he goes, no, I'll help you sell it, Todd. He goes, come over here. He goes, everybody turn around. This is my grandson, Todd Bridges. Get over here and buy some candy from him. Needless to say, I won the prize that year. So then from then on, everyone thought that Lloyd Bridges was my grandfather. And I kept going, no, my grandfather's black. No, my grandfather's black. But I just found out that my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was white. I just found that out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm 21% British and Irish, which is crazy.
You sure they didn't have enough actors and they just wanted to pay Lloyd
Nah,
Bridges
man,
$1,000 and say, tell everyone that's your grandkid?
they did not have. No, I'm telling you.
That's great.
Every black, if you look at it, every black person in Hollywood was in this movie. That was it.
Well, I mean, I'd have to go. Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
have to
and
look back at that.
it was the biggest. You know, it was the biggest ever.
Ever.
77 million people watched it.
Oh, I know. It was
Yeah.
gigantic, you know. And but you have to, and the day, and if you're a kid, if you don't watch it, you missed it. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like
And
today.
now certain places are trying to cover it up. That's what it needs. To me, in order not to repeat history, you have to know about these things. You have to know about it. I'm just now finding out a bunch about massacres that happened. I didn't know anything about the massacre that happened in France to the black people that helped fight the Second War. They massacred like 3,000 black people, and I didn't even know about that. The French did. I didn't even know about that until recently.
Yeah, and it's because people have come to a point where we'll just deny it.
Yeah,
and like it didn't happen, and which sucks the importance out of what went down and how to prevent that in the future.
Yes.
Let that grow.
It can happen. It can happen to anybody, to any race, and that's why
of course.
But the thing, I think the thing where people fail to realize is that we're all descendants of each other. We are. Nobody. There is no like race that's just pure race, except for maybe Native American. But they're going to be a bunch of different Native Americans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not going to be the same Native American. But everyone else is generations of somebody else. Just how it is.
Right.
I mean, it's like I was watching Gladiator 2, right? And I just realized in Gladiator 2 that those two brothers, but the two twins were actually they were actually black people. They were from Africa. They weren't like two white people. Yes.
The one dude that looks like Joaquin Phoenix is like the one dude looked like Joaquin Phoenix a little bit, which is weird because he was in the first one. I saw it last night.
Yeah. But the two twin emperors, they were actually supposed to be black people. They were from Africa. They were supposed to be Nubian. They were supposed to be Nubian, but they didn't. I guess because they had Denzel Nubian, they didn't want to make the rest of Nubian. Denzel was playing the right character of what color he was, but the two twins were supposed to be Nubian also.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Hey, I know this is not a shocker, but Denzel, man, he killed it. He
did. He was good. But everyone was good. The Spanish guy was good too. Played the Spanish character. Him and his mom. I mean, he was great. And to me, he kind of reminded me a little bit of Russell Crowe's character. He kind of did.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to give too much away because actually by the time this goes out, maybe it's like you should have seen it. But anyway, it was good. It was good film. I got to see Ridley Scott afterwards on a Q&A and all that stuff.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I brought my son.
Great. He must be old though. Is he older now?
Oh, Ridley Scott?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Like you said, you had done Fish, so I was reading that you got this just offered. That you didn't have to audition or anything.
No, I got Diff'rent Strokes from Fish. Mm-hmm. So when I'll tell you how it happened. For when Fish got canceled, they needed somebody to be with Gary Coleman because he was such a newcomer, and they had the show was originally written for Conrad and Gary. They didn't have an older brother. And then they realized, no, he needs an older brother. So what happened was they were searching. They couldn't find people. When Diff'rent Strokes got canceled, Robert Brogliotti at NBC was like, hey, I got the person that can actually handle it and be really good at being the straight guy for Gary.
Well, it was going to be a different format originally, right?
Yeah, originally different format. It was just them two. But I think it was Conrad that said he needs an older brother. This won't work unless he has an older brother. He needs somebody, so they Diff'rent Strokes got canceled. Robert Brogliotti was like, they called me on a cruise ship. And I was on a cruise ship. They sent a telegram. That's what they sent, a telegram.
Wow,
that's funny.
You know the telegram in those days. That's what they did. They sent telegrams. They couldn't call. They sent a telegram and told me that I got the role of Diff'rent Strokes if I want to do it. And I did.
I remember seeing you on stuff before you became as visible. As you ended up.
I watch Fish regularly. Yeah, absolutely. So.
Oh yeah, Fish was a good show.
Little guest spots and stuff too.
Yeah, I did tons of guest spots. I did a movie with called Circle of Children with it was with Sissy Spacek and Henry Winkler.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I've known Henry forever. since I was like
familiar.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
It's called now it's called The Radical. That's what it's called now, The Radical.
The Radical.
Yeah. CC Space Act and them, and I'm also in it.
That's cool. You missed the there are a couple multi-camera shows now, you know.
Yes. We're actually pushing the show right now that looks like it may go next
cool.
year. But we don't want multi-camera, we want single camera. We just think that single camera is cheaper. I think it's cheaper and you can get it done faster, you know, I just think.
Yeah, and there are plenty of good single camera comedies.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what you did and what I've done as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
But it's like you got everyone called it a 3-camera deal,
Yeah.
but it was a 4-camera, and
Yeah.
you got an audience, and you're doing a play.
That's basically what you're doing, a film play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, you got the laughs and the this and the laugh, and boom, and go, good night, bow, and all that.
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's not a lot of that anymore. It's you got the
I think because it takes up so much space. You know what I mean? And you know, you shoot for 3 days, you know, you rehearse for 3 days. The 4th day you do camera blocking and all that, and the 5th day you do 2 shows. I think that it takes a longer period. I think when you're doing a 22-minute show, basically it's 22 minutes was on the network. It's 22 minutes. You can shoot that faster doing you can shoot it for 3 days. You can get it done in 3 days.
Yeah.
To the next show. 3 days, 3 like that. You know what I mean? I think it'd be easier.
But my counter argument, and listen, I'm not a production coordinator, but would be that, okay, that's a good point, but you're on one stage, you're not buying locations and stuff like that. I feel like
that's
contained,
true. But when I did Everybody Hates Chris, you know, I'm also on the cartoon right now too. On Everybody Hates Cartoon, I'm in that. So when I did Everybody Hates Chris, you know, we shot at Paramount. Same there and at one stage. Got everything done all the time. Street scenes, the barbershop, all that stuff was there. So I think when you do a show like this, you have to pick a studio that has all that there. So that all you do is go from the stage to the street, stage to street like that, keep going back and forth.
I do remember on Everyone Loves Chris, by the way. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I do remember when I did your show, you guys were sort of like swapping time on with Facts of Life, I think. Like
they had the other side of the stage,
or neighboring stage.
Yeah, we had the same stage and they just went on different sides.
You and Conrad Bain were tight, huh? Is that
very tight? Yeah. When I lost him, I was like losing my dad. You know, I talked to him the day before he passed away. He was good. He's such a great guy. Treated me really well.
He was a sweet man.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, that show was a hit though. Like immediately, it was like
immediately was. But what's interesting is it was a hit immediately, but we got negative mail from both sides. You know, in the beginning.
Stuff?
Yeah, in the beginning, racist stuff from the white people, and then the black people were like, "What are you doing hugging that white man?" That kind of stuff.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so we got it from both sides, you know.
But how did you had done? You just talked about you had done so many things already before then, but now you're like a star, like such a major series. Like, did this just blow up your life? How much did your life change then?
It made me a lot more successful. But at the same time, that was during the era where they didn't want too many people to become bigger than they should have been. There was times that when I found out that they were stopping me from doing movies and stuff, they would stop me from doing a lot of stuff. The network had a lot of power to do that back then. They don't have the power to do that now. Like, for instance, you get a hit show now, you got Instagram, you got all this stuff that can blow you up further, and you can make a lot more money to where you don't really need them in their money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, back then you had to depend on them. Think about the kids today on shows today. They got Instagram with 21 million followers. You know what I mean? They're making a fortune of all these things, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a lot different than it was when we grew up. They had a lot more control of us back then.
Yeah, I also feel like because social media is a little bit of a celebrity's arsenal too. It's like, you know, a lot of we do a lot of shit in the day, but it get tucked under the rug now. Like it's going to backfire on our network.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. There were times, you know, the network could control things and actually keep you from getting in trouble. If they were able to back then to buy up stuff from, like I heard people got in trouble. They would buy the press up so nobody could use it.
Yeah.
I mean, but you can't do that today. They don't care because it's more profitable to sell it.
Yeah.
Well, kids having so much stuff for today too. There's no escape.
Well, that's one thing on our podcast that we have, me and my wife. One of the things we talked about in one of the episodes where how much more difficult kids have it today than we did growing up, because the pressure they're constantly under, the ridicule they're going to take from Instagram, Facebook, that kind of stuff, that, the peer pressure's got to be rough. We only had to worry about people that were next to us, or, that we could talk to. They have to worry about, people thousands of miles away talking trash about them.
Exactly.
But I think today with kids, also, I think, I'm not being mean or anything, but I think kids are a lot more softer than we were, because when we grew up, you can go out and ride your bike. You could be going all day. As long as you come back home before the streetlights came on, you could be going. I mean, and I would go ride my bike going all day. I'd be going on. I barely come home just when it's time for dinner before the streetlights came on.
Yeah, it was the cue to go home. Yes.
Oh yeah, and if I didn't make it, my mom would kill me if I didn't make it, boy. Woo.
Oh man, if our moms had Find My Phone or whatever.
Oh man,
Lord. Yeah.
I want to ask you about Gary a little bit, because I've read that you had a complicated relationship through the years.
Did you see the documentary? But did you see his documentary yet?
I did see the documentary a while ago.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's you had a rough relationship, then you got very close again. So and I've heard all these different things. What was he like, and as a person, and just how was he at the end? Because he at one point he was the most popular person on TV.
Oh yeah. Me and Gary in the first 3 years were very tight. Like I say on the show, I talk about that on the documentary about him. We were so close. We were like brothers. And when Willie Coleman came, everything changed. It just moved us aside. He felt that a lot of times he would say that, not to hang out with black people because they're not good enough to hang out with him, Yeah, he was definitely like, Willie Coleman was definitely like that. And then when Gary got his money stolen, I remember I found out about it and we started talking, we started getting closer. And it was quite interesting because Gary started getting in trouble. He found out what it was like to be popular and have people call the police and you get in trouble for no reason. He found out really fast and then apologized for all the things he did. We became really close and tight, started doing shows together. I started talking all the time on the phone, and he would call me a lot of times for advice. Gary was a good kid. The problem was he had a bad upbringing from his parents, learning from his mom, and his mom kind of said that, but his dad, you don't hang out with these people because of color. That's just crazy stuff. You don't teach kids that. So Gary, had a very negative aspect on a lot of things because of that. But like I remember when I was helping Gary the first time, he was like, man, he goes, all the stuff I did to you, why are you helping me? I said, man, because I love you. You're my brother. I go, Gary, we're brothers, dude. This is fine. I'm okay with this. And then, we grew very close to it because of that after that. And I remember Willie Coleman called me trying to get me to call him. I was like, man, Gary don't want to talk to you, and that's how it's going to be,
He turned his son into a product.
Oh yeah, he did. And they stopped working. Both of them stopped working. Mm-hmm. They made I remember there was $800,000 in an account, and I remember before they gave it to Gary, they took $700,000, paid themselves $700,000, and he had to end up suing them to get his money back.
I remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
Let me ask about the phrase. I mean, look, I know you get this all the time, but I'm very curious. Like that, when they list all the top catchphrases in TV history, that is near the top. It's always like in the top 5 at least.
I still think it's one of the biggest catchphrases. I think it's the number one because it's the only one that you hear over and over and over. And then it's to the point where young kids say it and they don't know where it's from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the only one I actually still hear. In the market, someone didn't hear somebody there. Wait a minute. What you talking about? And you know what, Todd, I've always thought was cool about that? It's a catchphrase, but it came from Gary, but you're Willis. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's twofold. I mean, it's
I sell these really cool different kind of shirts on realtoddbridges.com that has all the catchphrases on it for Diff'rent Strokes.
Oh, cool.
And all that. I sell those. I got some new stuff we're gonna start selling on there soon too. I sell my podcast One Dang too on there too.
Oh, we're gonna talk about the podcast for sure. We're gonna get to
ToddBridges.com.
Yeah, realtoddbridges.com. Yeah.
Realtoddbridges.com.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody had Todd Bridges tried to extort me for money. I was
my gosh.
I'll just put Real Todd Bridges.
Well, let me just veer off real quick. Just this is random because it just flew into my head. Mm-hmm. Did you and your brother Jimmy rescue a woman?
Yes.
Who fell into a Lake Balboa? She was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
You were a hero.
We were fishing, right? And this woman was a paraplegic in a wheelchair. So I guess the sun was facing down. She didn't know her wheelchair was on. She threw her pole in the water and it hooked onto the knob and right into the water. And we jump in and we get her out. My brother get her out, they save her. And then here's the sad part about it. We saved this woman's life. And then, people started coming, the cops are coming, and the network starts showing up. And all of a sudden one day, I'm watching Fox, and they're like, Todd Bridges was a hero today, but he wasn't such a hero in 1985. Instead of bringing up all my past, and I'm like, oh my gosh. That's what. And the crazy part about it, it's really just with me. No matter what I do, I'm 30. I'll be 32 years sober next February 24th. And only thing they do is bring up still my crap, my old crap from 32 years ago.
Incredible.
Like, come on, guys. That's 32 years ago. They don't do, like you don't see when Robert Downey Jr., like actor Robert Downey Jr., he's Iron Man, but before Iron Man, he was using drugs. They don't say that,
I know. You know what? They'll kick you they'll kick you even when you're not down. When you're up, they want to kick you back down.
Yep.
For ratings or whatever. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just remember it just flew into my head. And but I know Jimmy. I know your brother.
Oh, yeah.
That's Jimmy. It's right there.
Yeah. Jimmy's a good guy too. I have a good brother. I got a good family, man. We're tight.
Yeah.
My brother and my sister were tight. That's why losing our mom was tough, man. It was tough, dude.
Man, that
was probably the toughest thing ever,
Yeah.
And she was living out here with me. She was living with me in Arizona. Mm-hmm. And I was like watching TV with her. She had just got out of the hospital. Was in the hospital for like a month. Then she went to an assistant care. Then she came back to our house finally. And we were watching the show together. And I look over at her. She's sleeping. And I look over again. She's still sleeping. And I look and I realize she's not breathing.
Oh, you found.
But the thing that I realized is, like, I've been close to death's body before too. And I truly believe that when the spirit leaves, it's just a shell. It's no longer that person. Mm-hmm. Like I knew that was my mom, but that wasn't my mom anymore. My mom was already in heaven. That was just some shell sitting there.
Yeah.
So I do believe the spirit leaves you. When God calls you, nothing can stop it.
Yeah, and but she went out with the people she loved. The kid, she was right there. It would not everybody gets an opportunity to see that. Some accidents happen, man, and I think that people don't, this I don't get because life is short and just wake up. Like people are estranged. I mean, I get it if it certain circumstances, but like. No, I'm not talking to my dad. I'm not talking.
I think that's the dumbest thing in the world.
Go talk.
Yes. You always, whether you like them or not, or you like who they are, you still talk to your family, your family and your parents, because when they go, you're going to be very upset, and it's too late to make up for that. You can't make up for that once they go. That's it. They're gone.
Right. All right. I'm going to get off that morbid subject. It's not morbid. Actually, it's part of life.
Hey, it is.
Hey, did you? Come on, man. What went on with Janet Jackson?
I can't tell you the stories, but Janet's a good person.
Yeah. I went to school. Did you go to Valley Professional School or not?
No.
She went there.
I went to Hollywood Academy in Hollywood.
Oh, similar.
I was working too much to really be able to go to school. Those shows film for 9 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So you really didn't have much time.
Mm-hmm. I got to ask you, you had Nancy Reagan. The first lady of the United States goes on to go on any show. She goes on your show. How much was that? I mean,
let me tell you, when Nancy Reagan was there, man. Let me just say this: the craziest part about it was when we had Nancy Reagan on our show. Ronald Reagan, the president, came to see the show.
Oh wow!
Wow! The entire audience was Secret Service. So, needless to say, they didn't laugh at our jokes. They only laughed at Nancy Reagan's jokes.
Yeah, of course.
I love Nancy Reagan. I'll tell you another great story. Somebody in Secret Service, one time I go, man, what do you guys carry in the car? He goes, oh, I'll show you. Come on. Took me outside. He lifted his trunk up and showed me ground to air missiles. Ground to air missiles, man. He was like, if something tries to fly over, we're allowed to pull these out, shoot them down. Like, dang, that's crazy, dude. That was nuts.
Crazy. Did you see the football? They call the football, which is like the with the codes.
No, they didn't show me that. No, I didn't see that.
Is that a myth or that's a real thing?
No, that is a real thing. They carry that around, I think.
Wow. Who else besides? I mean, where do you go from Nancy Reagan and Ronald Reagan?
We had Mr. T. We had He played Crazy Larry. Was Hippity Dippity Doc. What's that comedian?
Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah, Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh,
We had
that guy.
Muhammad Ali. We
Yeah,
had Too
Whoa,
Tall Jones.
whoa. You had
We had
Cassius
Abdul
Clay.
Jabbar.
yes.
You had Cassius Clay.
Yeah.
See,
we had Abdul Jabbar. We had Too Tall Jones. We had so many people. Reggie Jackson. We had so many people on that show, man.
Everyone went
And
through.
a lot of actors that became big stars from that show.
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. No, see, athlete, I don't really, I totally respect and I love the art of acting, and I don't do it anymore. I direct and whatever. But like, actors are great, cool, and I get impressed a lot, but I get starstruck from athletes and
So do I.
and
Because it's such
musicians,
a difficult sport. Athletes are it's not easy, man.
But it's also not a pool I swim in or swam in. I mean, professionally, you know what I mean? Like, and I couldn't tell you like what that what a locker room and the Lakers and the finals are. You know what I mean? Like,
I've been there because I was good friends. I was good friends with Jerry Buss. So I always went to the Laker games. Yeah, I was good friends with him, hung out, and he'd give us a lot of girls. He always did. Jerry liked having us around. I'll tell you who I was. Sammy Davis Jr. I was friends with too, and Sammy introduced me to let's see, Bing Crosby, Dom DeLuise, Burt Reynolds, Frank Sinatra.
Oh my gosh!
Guys got introduced to me by I went to a party of his, met all those guys there, and
wow.
Sammy Davis Jr. was a big fan of mine. He had every show I ever done recorded.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's cool.
Was Sammy as great as he seemed?
Oh yeah, man. He was great, nice. I can't say too much about his wife Altaviz, but he was great. Sammy was wonderful. And Red Fox, my idol, Red Fox. While I got on TV, I got to be around Red Fox. At one time, the Diff'rent Strokes was owned. I mean, Tandem Productions owned all those shows.
Yeah, Tandem. Yeah,
owned all of them. So I got
Red Fox.
Red Fox, everybody. Jamon Wilson, everybody.
I love that show, man. Yeah. I love Sanford and Son.
Oh yeah. I love Carol O'Connor was a nice guy from All in the Family. You didn't think from his character, but he was. He was a great guy. Nice person.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that too.
Yeah. That was a day, man. Those are quality shows. I only worked
with one person that was not a good person. And I'll tell you what, when I was in 1976, I did a bicentennial commercial for the United States. There was 3 kids, a white kid, me, and 2 white kids. And I will tell you the person first. Before I tell you who it was, I'll tell you what happened. We were I was supposed to first carry the drum, and the director goes, no. We don't want the black guy carrying the drum. Let the black guy carry the flag, because you look kind of weird. I'm the only guy playing the drum. So I was carrying the flag, and they were like, and then somebody gives a speech down at the bottom. This great man gives a speech, and I remember we were so little, we kept falling because there was like holes coming down the hill from cows. We're dodging the cow poop, and and actually trying to not miss the holes. We're falling, and this guy, man, turns around and starts cussing us out. You effing children, goddamn! I'm trying to get out. And we all start crying. We all start crying really bad, right? And our parents went over to us and goes, "We're gonna take our kids home." And they're like, "No, please! If we get them to apologize, we got to leave the kids. We spent already $1 million on this commercial." So, it was actually Henry Fonda.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
He didn't, and remember, Jane Fonda talked about that. Remember how her dad wasn't nice? She talked about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I talked about him on this podcast because I did one of those. He was a spokesperson for the GAFU Master, and I did one of those. And someone asked me about it on the podcast, and I didn't. He didn't do the screaming. He didn't do that. But he didn't talk to me either. Like he was just cold. Like he didn't. Yeah. We were like on camera cut.
Yep.
Wait, can you back up?
Mm-hmm.
So the don't let the black guy play the drums, because why? Too typical, because us white people don't have rhythm, and the black person.
I think it was just it was too. It was. I think because it was a little stereotypical back then. Black people beating drums. And stuff,
with rhythm and the
So they had me carrying the flag, which was actually better. Carrying the flag, they thought so.
But how are they going to keep rhythm if we, you put some?
That is the other problem, but we figured it out. I gave the kids some hip hop lessons back in the 70s.
There you go.
Well, there's coming up with that. And we have something else to ask first, but just reminded me, and I'm not going to mention any names here, too. I don't know if you saw it, Patrick Labrato last week on his podcast.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, you saw it already. So is that story
Patrick and me, we've all been friends for a long time.
okay? Was that story true that he said? I
Yeah,
don't want to
it,
listen.
it, it was. It
It was
true.
true.
Yeah.
All right. If anyone wants to know who it is, that there was
But
someone.
he didn't mess with me. See, they all knew to leave me alone.
But all right. So, but the story was that Patrick said that you and him threw this famous actor into a garbage can.
Yep.
That's a true story.
Yeah, when Patrick told me about that, I was like, all right, we'll take care of it, man. Let's try.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah. See, I was good friends with Patrick Laboratory and Matthew Laboratory because we did a lot of shows together. We did tons of shows together, and I used to always go to their house.
Yeah. And, what, Burbank? Or no? Yeah. So you're freezing up. So, well, this doesn't matter. I went to school with Pat and Matt too for a little while at Valley Professional. But maybe they went over to Hollywood Professional too, or something.
No, well, I just know. I don't think they went to Hollywood Professional, but I knew them not from school. Sorry, guys. Hold on a second. Not from schools. I knew them from. I did so many movies with Patrick and Matthew, but especially Matthew. I did tons of shows with Matthew.
Yeah,
tons of shows with him. Yeah.
Matt's a good friend of mine. Was he crying? Yeah. Was he crying in something? Yeah, Matt and Pat are good people. Hey, and you did something that one of those things I always wanted to do, and a lot of us wanted to do, but didn't because it seemed like so much fun. So the Battle of the Network Stars.
Oh yeah, I did.
Was that a blast?
Man, let me tell you what made it fun was you got to see a lot of your old friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. What made Battle Network Stars fun was we had an opportunity to be able to do stuff against your friends, you know what I mean? That you knew from the show.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the funniest story with that was one time I was doing one with Robert Conrad. And Robert Conrad was like, it's a foot race, so I should be doing it. I'm the fastest. And I go, Robert, you're not the fastest. If you want, I will blow you out the water, Robert. You don't want to race me. So, of course, I raced Robert, blew him out the water. Like, okay, you can go. You can lead time. I'm like, thank you.
Well, I watched that episode. I watched it last night.
Did you? Let me tell you, though, who was fast. I was full speed running. I'm running fast, and I'm running, and no one can catch me. And I hear, doom, 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 doom. It was Lou Ferrigno behind me, right behind me.
Oh, really?
Dude, yes. On my heel.
That's funny, man. That big old dude lumbering down.
Oh yeah, dude. Once he got going, he was fast.
But I've heard from other people. We've had on other people who were in Battle of the Network Stars, and they all said the same thing. That everyone just came in having a good time, but once those competitions started,
oh yeah, win, dude. Yeah,
we had a whole conversation with I think Adrienne Barbeau on this podcast about Conrad Bank. I mean, not Conrad.
Robert Conrad.
Robert Conrad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, he was a competitive kind of an ass. Sorry.
But he thought he could beat me, but I was like, "You're not gonna beat me, dude. I'm 14. I'm fast. It's just like you can beat a kid. Like I used to be able to beat my son until he turned like 14 and a half, 15. I couldn't beat him no more. Just too fast. And I was trying to explain that you're not gonna beat me, dude. I'm gonna dust you off. I dusted him off, so you let me run.
I remember at 14, my knees didn't hurt at all. So yeah,
right.
I mean, Gabe Kaplan beat Robert Conrad. It was like a big showdown. Cotter beat Conrad. Wild West, tough guy. You know? Yeah.
Well, let me ask you about your memoir. I went through it this week, and you really laid yourself bare in there. I mean, you covered your past in very open detail. Drugs, abuse, violence. So first, what prompted you to write it, and was it? I'm curious, was it cathartic or painful to revisit these experiences?
Well, no, I think that if my life can help somebody, then I've done my job. If it helps one person. So I think that the reason why I bared my soul was I'm so tired of reading these autobiographies where they're sugarcoated. You know what I mean? They're sugarcoated. Or you see these like we're supposed to be doing my life story as a movie too. The thing is, which is hard for people, is that it's so raw that it scares people. But I feel that when you show a movie like that, you give people the opportunity to realize that, hey, you know something? If I make it, if I can live through that, I can live through anything, which is true. I've gone through so much in my life that everything else seems kind of easy. You know what I mean? It seems really, really easy because I've gone through so much in my life. It's not that difficult.
But when you write about something like that, is it like almost like a separation? Like, is it?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a separation. It's you have to separate yourself from what you're going through. You definitely have to do that, you know. And I think that to write it, you really have to bare your soul. And some people are afraid to bare their soul, and I wasn't afraid to bare my soul.
No, you're great memoir. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, did you see that documentary, Todd? Called, oh gosh, it was about, what was it, Quiet on the Set?
Yes, I saw that. That was wild. I didn't know that was going on down
You
there at
have
Disney.
thoughts?
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's, you know, you're supposed to protect children from that. And
Yep.
and I can't believe that it happened at Disney, you know, let alone anywhere else but Disney.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
completely insane.
Well, I think that, of course, I'm a father. You know what I mean? Like, you
Yes,
get
me
near
too.
my, it's on. You know, I better
Yeah,
get a lawyer because I'm going to react. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Um,
it was Nickelodeon, then Disney. Yeah. And,
but
yeah.
you know, I heard a bunch of stuff before it, and then I saw it, and I'm like, yeah, that's not good. But
Oh
it
yeah.
also wasn't as bad as the hype.
Well, think about this. Let's look at the Catholic Church. Remember how they were sending, they knew what these priests were doing, they
Yeah.
sent them just to another parish? I
Hmm.
think that nobody wants to believe what's going on,
Yeah.
and they just want to like not have to see it or deal with it. So they kind of push it under the rug. And then once it gets buried to come out, like I'm sure Disney's, you know, got a big black eye from that, you know, from this, you know what I mean? I'm sure this really messed up Disney, you know, to
Yeah.
find this out that these kids were that happened to these kids. But it explains a lot. You know, whenever a kid starts acting out and doing the wrong things, this is what usually happens. This is
Hmm.
what partakes in their life for sure.
Yeah. But you know, like it's human behavior for people to kind of know something's going on, but kind of ignore it or be in denial a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
let's say an abusive relationship or something, and like they just stay
Mhm.
in it way too long because they just really, really love or
Oh yeah.
wanted that person. Yeah.
Mhm.
I kind of feel like stage parents, well, they wanted their kids on TV. They may
Yeah.
have seen a thing or two, but like, you know, I don't know, whatever, and just kind of made made it a little lighter than it was. Like, made light of it when, hey, man, that's you're gonna put your child through therapy.
Well,
You know.
let's look at it this way. Dr. Nassiar. Here, well, let's
Mhm.
look at that. How many did those kids tell their parents what was going on and no parent did anything about it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
sure tons of girls said something like, you know, he's doing such, and no one really kind of like if I was the dad and they told me that, and my daughter told me that this man was touching her inappropriately while she was in there, like, and told me what she was doing. I'd have been over there whooping his. They'd had to grab me up. I'd have whooped his ass. That's just how I would have done, you know,
Right.
because that's how protective I am. So I understand that sometimes people want something so bad that you know they don't want to see the bad side to it. They don't want to deal with the bad side.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And
I'm
like,
not like that at all.
no, but I mean, I'm thinking like it's almost like preying on these stage parents, you know, when their kids are on a Nickelodeon show. Like, they
Oh yeah,
know how bad they don't want their kids to be taken off of it, so they're not going to
exactly.
ruffle any
Yep.
feathers, you know.
Oh yeah, and that's the same thing like with this Dr. Nassar is I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but the same thing. They know their daughter couldn't make it to the Olympics, and
Yeah.
they didn't want to be have an opportunity not to go. I think
Oh,
that, so.
okay.
I think that it has the same thing to do with acting. They see their kids, you know, they hear these things, they're like, well, no, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think this
yeah.
is really going on, you know, and they want to push past so their kid can become, you know, make a lot of money, but you know, it's because they get a percentage of that money too.
Right.
Um,
Not, yeah.
my mom, the great part about my mom was she didn't care about me being on that show enough to let me be in harm's way.
That's good.
Um, there was a time where they tried to get me to make fun of Muhammad Ali on Diff'rent Strokes, and I said I'm not doing it. And my mom said he doesn't have to do it if he doesn't want to do it. And they go, "We'll fire you." And my mom goes, "We'll fire him then. That's good enough. You can fire us because he's not going to do it." And then Al Burton stepped in, who said, "No, no, he doesn't have to say it if he doesn't want to say that. That's his
Right.
hero. He doesn't have to say it."
Good for your mom.
So I think
Good
that
for
Al
Albertan too.
Burton, yeah,
Yeah.
Al Burton really protected me on that show and protected a lot of Dana too on that show.
Yeah.
Al Burton was the guy who gave me my first job after all that crap I went through. I was on the new Lassie, and I played after everything I went through. I played the police officer on the new Lassie, the police chief. But I'll tell you what was really great about it. Al Burton was like, "Okay, do not put the gun in his holster until we get ready to shoot. I don't want anybody taking pictures of him with a gun in his hand."
Ah, and no drumming for him.
No drumming. Yes,
A
that's right.
little callback. Hey, so what's your podcast? It's called
Our podcast is called Dang. It was with my wife,
Dang.
me and Betty
Yeah,
Joe.
with Betty Joe, your wife, right?
Yeah, my wife. We talk about everything. You know, we talk about all subjects and things that we've gone through and dealt with. You know, we have a good time. We bounce off each other. You know, I think a husband and wife team is good because there's not a lot of people with a husband and wife team that are doing podcasts.
Yeah. How long you guys been married?
September 21st will be 3 years. So 2.5 years.
All right. All right.
You just touch upon everything, like what everyday life and everything together.
Everything on life. We answer questions from people. We get things, but also like we're gonna do this. I think we're gonna shoot this next week's show. We have one about the opiate crisis, but the thing we're gonna talk about is not only the opiate crisis, but how difficult now they've made it people who really need it trying to get it. So they're like chasing people to the streets again, you know, because they've made it so difficult that the people who really, really need it are having a hard time getting it. Like, just take 2 aspirins, you'll be okay. What?
Yeah.
When do you release this? When do is each episode?
That one, I don't know when that one comes out. That particular episode.
No, in general, when do you release new episodes, and where can people find?
Oh, the podcast comes on Tuesdays. So one came out yesterday. Yesterday's episode's already out. Every Tuesday the new one gets released.
I watched yesterday's last night.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yes, I did.
What was that one about? Did you like it?
The one you guys were talking about a little bit how you met each other.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're also going to have an episode where I talk about what in jail and who I was with. You're going to love that one.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I was in I won't tell you any stories about him, but I was in jail next to Eric Menendez and Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. So wait to hear that stories. Those stories are crazy. They're crazy stories.
I want to ask you. I want to go back to one thing that I feel like talking about. I have to ask you about the celebrity boxing.
Oh, yeah.
With Vanilla Ice. You guys are friends, right? I mean, you guys were friends.
Yeah, we were friends. Yeah, but I just told him I'm not going to lose in front of 22
That's what I was
million
going to ask. Did they tell you ahead of time to take it? You took it to him. Yeah, you're not going to have 3 times. I think in the first round.
I was supposed to originally fight Dana Bonaducci first, but Danny didn't want to fight me. I was too athletic for Danny. So Danny chose Barry Williams, and then they said, "Well, we gotta get somebody to fight Todd." So then they got Vanilla Ice to fight me. And at the time I was all pudgy, really pudgy. You know what I mean? And Vanilla Ice was like, all fit and trimmed and in shape. But I was telling Vanilla, I go, "You ever been in a fight?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right," because I'm not losing in front of national TV. I said, "You better get ready, bro, because we're gonna throw some real blows." And I just rolled him, man. Unfortunately, I rolled him.
Well, one of the things I do have to ask you, because I was shocked this week that I did not know something about you. That you were going to be in Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
you were almost in Breakfast Club. I was shocked.
So that was because how that took place. I was on a plane going to New York, and I happened to be sitting next to John Hughes, and I didn't know that. I didn't know who he was. At the time, he was a new up and coming director, and I was just being mean. He's like, "Oh my God," he goes, "You're hilarious." He goes, "You're funny. You're great. You got great timing." He goes, "Oh my gosh, I want you to be in my movie." I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "When you get back to LA, look up my partner, Michael somebody. I forgot what his last name was." I go, "Okay." So I get back to LA and they set up a meeting for me to go meet with him. And he looks at me, he turns aside, he goes, and he does something else again. He goes, "We don't know how to write for Black people."
Oh my gosh.
And I went, and I said, "The same way you write for white people. Have a good day." And left.
Oh my gosh, that's stunning.
Can you believe that though? I don't know how to write. And my thing was, how you gonna have all these kids in detention and no Black kid? Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, that's always been the thing about Breakfast Club. And
it should have been the jock who was black.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Emilio
Something
Estevez?
stupid,
That was John Hughes. John Hughes, a nice guy?
Yes, everyone was nice, yeah. John Hughes was a wonderful guy, but his partner wasn't so much, so.
Yeah, I don't get that you don't.
I mean, to actually ask somebody, I don't know how to write for Black people, like, what's when you get there and be like, what was it? Yes, sir. Yes, you want to go buck and shine? Is that what you want?
No. Like, maybe cultural wording. Okay, yes. Maybe they're not hip with that.
But I can always fix that.
Human issues, human problems, human situations.
Same thing.
Red Fox had a bunch of Norman Lear Jewish writers writing for him. Yeah. And I mean, it worked. That worked.
Yeah, you don't need that. It's just that if you want to change, if you need the wording to change, you ask the actor, okay, what would you guys say? And you tell them, yeah, we'd say like this. That's all you do. That's what made Everybody Hates Chris so successful was once we immersed into our character, Ali Leroy and them would ask us, what do is this what you would say, Todd? And I looked and said, no, I would say this. And I said to him, he go, oh man, that's hilarious. Use that. So Ollie Leroy let a lot of us that were, that we knew what we were doing. And I'll tell you something interesting about that. I had to audition for that show, which didn't make Ollie Leroy happy. Ollie Leroy was like, he knew my work and knew how good I was. And he was like, why would you guys audition him? If he wants the role, give it to him, right? So it just so happens that where I auditioned and I didn't think anything about it. And at the time I was doing World's Dumbest. Remember World's Dumbest? I was doing that show.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So Ollie Leroy never does this. Something told Ollie Leroy to pick up a tape, which I know was God. He stuck in the tape and he plays it. And I was the first person on, and he goes, and he stopped it and goes, called Kim and goes, the cast member goes, hey, did you audition Todd Bridges? Well, yeah. Well, why didn't you offer him the part? Well, we didn't. He goes, no, offer him the part. So they called and offered me the part, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. And because I was also on World's Dumbest, I told them they had to just work around World's Dumbest whenever I was shooting that, and they were like, no problem. And I took that character, man, and ran with it. I made that character into the hilarious, craziest, funniest character in the world.
Yeah.
Monk was paranoid out of his mind. Monk was paranoid about everything.
Yeah.
Monk trusted no one.
Right.
Well, Ernest Thomas was, that whole cast was great.
Yeah, it was. I did stand-up comedy for 15 years. People don't know that. I never did it in LA, but I did it everywhere else, all over the United States, but never LA. Yeah.
See that?
I was good at it.
Well, let's go back. We're right in the middle of your social media accounts.
My social media is let's see. I do Todd Bridges.
Real Todd Bridges.
On X. I'm Todd Bridges on X.
Okay.
I'm Todd Bridges on Instagram. I think I'm Todd Bridges on Facebook, I believe. And you can always tell it's me. And then what else? What am I on? I think I'm on a little bit of everything. So, but my website, you can find everything from my website. If you go to realtoddbridges.com, you'll find all my social media stuff. Or I also stream on Twitch. I'm a game player. I stream on Twitch.
Oh yeah.
I'm on I'm Todd Bridges 65 on Twitch. I stream Battlefield. I stream Off the Grid, Fortnite, Marvel Rivals. I stream a little bit of everything, and I got about 45K followers right now on that.
Nice.
I got about at least 100 subscribers. I'm doing quite well on it.
Nice.
I stream usually in the early morning from 5 a.m. to like 11, and then I get back on at 2 to 3 like that. So
yeah,
like I show you my setup. Like this is my setup right here. I'll show you my setup.
Let's see it.
Hey, wait, why is it blurry in the background?
I don't know. Yeah,
There we
go.
That's a nice setup.
Oh yeah, I built my computer. It's built.
Wow.
Why didn't you get more screens?
Hey man, I like my screens, man. Because you have to have one for your streaming software and your voice mod, and then you have to have 2 different screens because I do reel. I do restream. So I stream on 6 different platforms, and then you have your main screen at the bottom. I built my computer. I could building computers for quite a long time.
Oh man.
Okay. This one is the top of the line AMD AMD chip with the top of the line motherboard, and I got the 4090 water cooled with the video water cooled. My CPU is water cooled, and I got top of the line RAM.
And to think when I first met you, you and your mom were driving around with a Thomas Guide map book in LA.
Right? We all were. Everybody was. Like 13410.
Yep. Yeah. There's a page missing. We had one like
oh my gosh, it's a new
page
road
missing. Yeah.
This new road is not in here.
Right. All right, Todd.
Thank you again for coming.
This was great. This was great, man. Thank you.
We're looking forward to it. Like I said, I've been a big fan of yours for a long time, so we appreciate it.
Thank you, man. And check out Dang. Come check out Dang.
Absolutely. I've already watched it. I can vouch for it. I've already watched one of the episodes.
I'm going to check it out.
Thank you. Check it out. You'll like it. It's really good.
Yeah.
We got really good conversations coming up. You're going to love the conversations coming up. So, all right.
And hang out for a moment, Todd. We got something to ask you as soon as we're done. But hang out for a moment.
All right. Yep.
This has been Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen with Moosie Drier. And again, a very special thanks to Todd Bridges. And please like, comment, and subscribe.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Culture Retro, where no one was hurt during the making of this podcast. Listening to this podcast just makes you really cool.